Sven?
It's not about scripts. It's about the whole transaction. You know, those pull requests are about the rules that certain UTX or like in and outputs. That I mean, the rules that get applied to certain in and outputs. So, for example, there's a rule that if you send an MIT like from one address to another, it is not allowed within the same transaction to also receive ETP from the other address to the sender of the MIT. You know, so because there are some checks that the address must be the same, but so those pull requests, or one of the pull requests, lifts this restriction. So by just removing the condition, which I mean, from our point of view, it was completely unnecessary, this restriction. And without the restriction, we can do atomic swaps of MITs to ETP. And there's also another one for ETP and for MST and MIT. So that, you know, we can create one transaction in which I send you a non-fungible token, and you send me, I don't know, some ETP maybe in return, so that this transaction will either succeed and end up on the blockchain, or it will be rejected.
Oh,
you know, so without any risk that one of the parties lose any funds.
Okay, so for 364. Razvan had to download some libraries. Anyway, it's working. So the blockchains are syncing now. We'll see further after everything is done. This is referring to swapping ETP for MIT and ETP for MST, right?
I think MST was already working, but I think it is MIT to MST, if I'm correct.
MIT to MST.
Let me check it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Request. Yeah. Okay. And then the other one, the 406, the pull request number 406, is about the domain restrictions, which is also important. That if you have a domain certificate, it means that you are the only one who can create assets with a certain prefix. And it was already implemented for MSTs, which are our fungible tokens.
Yeah, MST, you can create, I looked at creating some test tokens there in MST. So you have to spend like 10 ETP, so then you can have your own prefix, right?
Yes, exactly. And then if you have your prefix, then the next asset you want to create with the same prefix, you have to have this domain certificate. So you can also transfer the certificate to somebody else, and then this other party can create assets. But so far, until today, it was not. I mean, this prefix restriction was not applied for our non-fungible tokens, for the MITs.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I get it. Good. So who's next?
Jorge, I saw you put up a link to the GitHub Elements and Lightning, and I understand you did some work with Andrea and the team Oli about substrate work and some Lightning, right? So I'm thinking that we should put under the same repository under MVS org. I don't know if you guys have access on it. Right?
No,
Not yet.
I don't have access to MVS org, but you do have access to our repo, or just give me access, or we can get Sven to do it. I'm not sure who has access to MVS.
Yeah, I can grant you access. I mean, we should, use MVS org. Just show people that we're actually doing things. Otherwise, people don't really know you guys actually spent 3 months working on a test substrate work.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So let's move there. Give me you. Well, I'll add you guys. Just send the names, just so I don't make mistakes. Okay, great.
Guys, I think we got 5 or 6 repos that we can push to MVS, Eric.
That would be great. So mostly substrate work, right?
Almost all of it is substrate work. We branched a little bit out to a little bit of Golang with what Razvan called a harvester, which was a subscan tool that we could take a look at block information. But almost all of it is substrate related work, yes.
Okay, sounds good. Why don't you just push that, and then we can review those works together with Sven and Chen Hao and Lauren.
Okay.
So everyone is on the same page will be nice. Just by the way, how far is the substrate test? Do we have a virtual machine, and do we have just you tell me, what do we have there?
Okay.
Yeah, Oli.
The substrate is built from the beginning on the very idea to have everything on a runtime module, which means because a virtual machine finally is run on a virtual machine. So basically, this gives a very important advantage that doesn't require hard forks, because all the code is ran on this runtime. So basically, and there is another feature we worked lately. It was that Kilt, which probably you had the occasion to look into, which provides an extended method, I don't know how to call it, of implementing smart contracts or digital deeds, digital identities. So I found if you didn't look so far to Kilt, you probably should look. We implemented this. So Kilt works fine. We just wanted to put everything on the wallet. So also the digital identities and the contract modules offer real possibility of running smart contracts code, like on EVM Solidity language. So almost, as Jorge said, almost everything works fine. Just this new feature, which need to be explored, because in our understanding, it provides many possibilities to run, and which may become a standard in the future, because this is why they call it a protocol. You might want to take a look and then discuss on it. So the idea of virtual machine on substrate is already there because of the way the chain. So I assume that when designed this kind of framework, they looked into EVM, for instance, and then they said, okay, we can put everything already available on the runtime. So this is not an issue on substrate.
Sounds good. So to me, this is a virtual machine already done. I'll say we can actually invite developers to work on this chain already. And is it possible to make it EVM compatible? I mean, the Solidity EVM is compatible.
As I said, EVM works, as Laurent said earlier, work basically on account-based blockchains. So as Substrate is an account-based blockchains, it has implemented a sort of EVM system, which is in my from my standpoint, uh, as long as we provide some innovation, we don't clone mechanically the Ethereum, because if we cloned mechanically Ethereum, that probably wouldn't be of much interest. But if we offer to the community some new features as Substrate has, including this skill, which was Jorge idea initially, which is amazing in my understanding, and it is of a great future, that is going to be of great interest. And I think also that it is very versatile. It can be applied on a lot of scenarios, and it will provide a lot of functionality, because on a traditional smart contracts, people need still to code in this solidity in EVM case. So basically not everybody wants to code. So it is a simple way to put smart contracts in the hands of non-technical people. This is my opinion.
Yeah, right. I mean, so much so that we want to look into the future, but sometimes we still need to think about the downwards compatibility, right? So it's not like if you don't know C++, then don't write a smart contract. This is too cool to the community. But anyway, yeah. So you mentioned that EVM is really account based, so it's very hard to do in the current ETP UTXO environment. Is that what you imply?
Partially, yes. Partially, we actually looked deeply into the code to understand deeper and to understand this relation between the POW because ETP has a hybrid consensus, and there is a certain relationship between POS and POW. And basically, we need to see what is allowed to do there and what don't. So I'm not 100%, but certain because the way POW works with POS in hybrid consensus, it's a little bit tricky when you think to certain applications.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think there's some useful things in there. Of course, Eric, Substrate basically create an abstraction level between machine and software, and that's what we're allowed to manipulate. So from a developer's point of view, it's fantastic. You don't have to recompile everything again. I mean, instant code updates for playing and creating things with. And that's kind of one of the features I like on it. I don't see a problem using some of the tools or the functionality, because the interoperable side of what Substrate's put together is very useful for us, I think, in the future, Eric.
Yeah. And last time the demo I saw, it was like almost like 1 or 2 seconds a block. So the speed is pretty fast, and we can do different consensus, as I understand. Is that right?
Yeah, we can. It is full hybrid consensus, of course. It's very versatile. As many ways as you can think to do that, and a few protocols that we found that were kind of interesting, like this Kilt protocol written in Germany.
Right. Okay. What kind of consensus we're using right now on your testnet?
Grandpa and babe.
Yeah, proof of stake.
Proof of stake. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So can we switch back to POW and POS? Is it possible?
Yeah, there's a function. I read a little bit about it, Eric, but then, you know, we were getting up to speed on some of these commits that had to be addressed on the ETP chain first. But there is a function for making it a proof of work chain also, and a hybrid model of such.
Yeah, I think it was worth exploring.
Okay.
Yeah. And do you guys have plan to how to address the VM on ETP chain yet?
Well, that's I can talk to that one. That's a big question. And I think before we can address what kind of abstraction layer we're going to use to communicate with them, we got to figure out the implementation of SegWit, Lightning, and all those features first, Eric.
From the research I did so far, and now I also want Sven and Laurent to pay a little bit of attention. So basically, this EVM type is compatible with account-based blockchains. In Bitcoin system, as they said, both Sven and Laurent, actually it is Lightning Network that does the job. So yes, the system is a little bit different from EVM. This is one of the limitation of I actually was referring to last time on UTXO, and so because it is not compatible with this kind of virtual machines. So we need actually to consider this. So there are certain solutions, but they are, I repeat, a different approach than what we call a virtual machine on. So Lightning Network provides some capabilities, but is not compatible quite with EVM. So am I right, Laurent? Or
yeah. I mean, the current ETP chain UTXO base is easier to connect with the Bitcoin Lightning Network. And the opposite, if we go for the ETP and substrate, it's easier to communicate with Ethereum because it's also account-based. So that's the pro and con of each. Like, current ETP chain is closer to Bitcoin, substrate is closer to Ethereum or account-based blockchain.
I don't really see the the reason why it should not be possible to do it on a UTXO chain, because for me it's like on for example, just as an example, take Ethereum. On Ethereum, every transaction you have this data part. So this is in this data part you specify your communication with the VM. So in the data part you can say, yeah, okay, create me a new contract, or I want to call this contract. And I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be possible to put the data part into a UTXO, like into an output of a transaction. And then in the order, the transactions are in a block and the outputs are inside of a transaction. Those data parts could just be passed on to a VM.
I guess that there is a limitation of the way the UTXO is generated, because I guess if a script would allow to modify UTXO, that will be a huge threat, a security gap to the blockchain, because when the new UTXO is generated, then the old one is erased. So I don't think a blockchain should allow playing with UTXO, including the. So this is a sort of algorithmic process. So this is why the way then the blockchain are validated, I don't think they are compatible because of the consensus itself. Because
yeah, but the VM is virtual. I mean, the VM has nothing to do with the blockchain itself. So
yes,
the
but
VM
the data is validated on the blockchain.
No, I don't think so. I think there can be an invalid data part that the VM cannot understand, but you can still put it in the transaction.
I mean, a token is generated in order this is the idea of smart contracts, Sven, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. to guarantee that the all the things is linked to the blockchain through a hash new token and the body of which because the contract is a non-fungible token written in that database. So basically, the virtual machine, because a virtual machine you can create in 1 hour now, you can pull, but then the problem is how do you communicate, make it communicate with the blockchain? Because the data you put on that blockchain.
Right, but it's a VM is just a state machine. So if you with a transaction you can change the state of the VM, and
yes, but the data where is the data stored?
Yeah, inside of the VM.
Yeah, it's
And what's the link then between a VM and the blockchain? Why shouldn't we build a VM separated from the blockchain? Why do we want a VM to be linked to a blockchain?
No, I mean, of course, the blockchain secures the VM state. So if you have the blockchain, then you can recreate the VM state, and you can prove that this is the correct state. But the interpretation of the state, if you have the the state machine, and I write some Solidity code, for example, maybe it's an ERC20, maybe it's something completely different. It will be compiled to bytecode, and this bytecode provides, I mean, some interface that people can call, but you know, it's just a standard. So you don't know how, like, what the contract internally does, how it interprets the state.
Okay, I was just asking Sven. So this is why I asked.
Yeah, sure. No, of course.
I asked for things because I wanted to understand in your viewpoint, how do you make the changes to the blockchains which mean interact with I am sure that you will be able to provide us more details in order to be able to develop. Okay, it is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we do those meetings, right? So that we talk about it. But I just feel like it's two different things. So for example, right now we have MSTs, we have fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens directly on our chain. Like, and I think it will be very hard to, or it will be much harder to be able to interact with those on-chain assets and the VM. I don't think I think this will definitely be harder, but to just take a VM and you know, find some way how you can transfer data to this VM so that the VM knows how to change its state. I mean, I don't see a reason why this shouldn't be possible.
Okay, I see. Anyway, you did a great work. We appreciate. We look deeper, and we saw the magnitude of your work. It is a very solid work, and we like Metaverse. I want to emphasize that. So the reason I'm asking for details is to understand how do we. So probably you will write a few words about that. How do you think exactly? Because I don't, we didn't see, this is actually why I asked you, because I didn't see how do we change the machine state so we interact from the.
Yeah, I got it.
But I'm sure you know, and I'm looking forward to
yeah, sure.
And thanks a lot for your.
Yeah. Yeah, we can also do the other way around. We can also, you know, maybe we end up with taking some of the things that work good on Metaverse, like the MSTs and the non-fungible MITs and the avatar models, and maybe in the end we will implement those as parachains on a substrate-based chain.
Yes, that's an idea we should work on, to bridge Metaverse on substrate. This would be probably the biggest hit to make them communicate.
Okay.
Sven, I got a question if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
I did a little bit of research on the EVMs that were available. I have lots of experience on KVMs, kernel virtual machines, kind of how I choose to operate. The EVMs that Ethereum uses for smart contracts use OP codes, right? So they've set up a protocol of how they define bytecode conversion between chains. I didn't go through all the summaries or play with any of those OP codes, but I find that we have likely two options: either follow something like an EVM, like what they've done, or consider a KVM for doing this, which gives us full flexibility. So those are just two considerations to keep in mind.
Yes, I think the EVM is not very close to is not very efficient. You know, so it would definitely be more efficient to find a way to. That's what WASM can do.
Yep. Yep. That was it for my question.
Yeah. Okay. Laurent, there was also another point you wanted to mention. I think we talked about it in the morning.
Which
I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I just had one quick question for Eric about DNA election. Will there be another DNA election on Metaverse chain or not? It's just to know if we need to implement this in the new version of Light Wallet or not.
There will be another election, a DNA election on ETP chain,
Okay.
and coming soon. But I don't know how Light Wallet is involved. So you better talk to Yao, but he's extremely busy at this moment. But bother him, send him an email or WeChat. No worries. He works 20 hours a day. I'm just joking.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
so just ask him. And also, I think Chen Hao is very useful. Ask him too if you want. He's busy today, so he couldn't join. But yeah, do ask him. Might have some work involved on the Light Wallet side, yes. But I hope this is the last one, election running on ETP chain. I mean, DNA should stand on its own foot.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
That's it for me. Jorge, if you have time, we can do our tech review on the topic we said last time.
Sure.
If you have time. Yeah, okay, I'll call you. But other than that, maybe let's call it the meeting. Love to see Adrian, Oli, and Razvan. And hopefully next time we'll see Chen Hao and Yao.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
you,
you,
Eric.
Eric. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye-bye.